Good afternoon, comrades. I'm delighted to bring solidarity and support to Barnsley's May Day campaign and the campaign for £10 an hour in this community. Little did we know that when Dave was putting the agenda together, we'd be in the run-up to a general election, but we are. And that's good, because in 6 weeks' time, we have a real opportunity to make a difference. It's this movement's challenge to restore some sanity and some social justice to these communities that we represent in this post-Brexit, post-Trump, post-truth world that we now live in. And to do that, we really do have to focus on the issues that really matter to our people on a day-to-day basis. Jobs, the economy, standards, living standards, and public services. There was a report published last week by a group of economists which said that there was a new living standards crisis born out of the stagnation of wages and the gradual increase in prices that we're witnessing. And you've seen today there's an announcement that the economy is slowing down. Well, we all knew that. They're saying that the squeeze is going to get worse. Well, we all knew that. We all know that the consumer confidence that has been reported in recent years has been entirely built on consumer debt. It's staggering to think that personal debt, that's credit cards, that's loans, excludes mortgages. Personal debt is back to the same levels that it was in 2008, pre the crash. That's staggering. It's frightening. But why is it? It's because wages have been, real wages, have been steadily declining over the past decade. And of course, austerity has made a bad situation much worse, with unnecessary pay caps, counterproductive pay freezes, and the 1% that's being offered to health service workers in Barnsley and the rest of the country is an insult to those people who are giving their lives and skills to help our communities. An average public sector worker this year, at the end of this year, is calculated to be £4,500 worse off than they were in 2010. Counterproductive because we've lost 35,000 jobs in this region alone from public services. So all that income has been sucked out of local economies. The Exchequer has lost the tax revenue. And of course, where do these people go who are leaving decent, relatively well-paid jobs in the public sector with at least a decent pension scheme? They're going into the gig economy. They're going into the 0 hours, short hours, casual work, bogus self-employment economic model that is now endemic in this country. And of course, you can be paid 20 quid an hour. It doesn't make any difference if you've got no hours. My union was formed in 1889, on the 31st of March, 1889. We had two conditions. The gas workers union that formed our union. One was a decent wage, the other was an 8-hour day. Of course, it was to reduce the working day from about 14 hours down to 8. But an 8-hour day might as well be our slogan now. A guaranteed working day, because it's disappearing from our economy. Of course, the whole point of the gig economy is to make money, to make lots of money for those businesses that embrace it, on the back of exploitation and uber flexibility. And I use Uber in the broadest sense. Uber flexibility of human beings. And Diane and my colleague Colin from Unite have touched on Sports Direct. But it's not just your Ubers, it's not just your Sports Direct, it's not just ASOS, it's not just your Amazons who are embracing this model. Household names like Tesco's. Tesco's have 6,000 casual agency workers in their distribution sector. Sainsbury's employ 45 different employment agencies to supply their agency and casual workers in their distribution sector. Deliveroo. When I first started using them in speeches over the past year or so, they had 8,000 cyclists, delivery men and women. They've now got over 10,000 delivery men and women who cycle or drive hundreds of miles a day to deliver takeaways that we order, paid by the delivery, paid by the takeaway, working 12, 16-hour days in order to have a decent income. That's the world that we're living in now. That's what the economy is becoming. And we know we have, GMB released some studies last week that we have 250,000 care workers who are being paid less than the national minimum wage, and many thousands more on zero-hour contracts. Is it any wonder that 900 care workers leave the profession each day? Is it any wonder that we've got a social care crisis in this country? We have 4.7 million self-employed people in the UK. The TUC estimates that around 750,000 of those are bogusly self-employed. In other words, they're working for one employer under their complete control, directed in terms of hours and duties and pay, but the employer pretends otherwise, purely to avoid paying tax, national insurance, and having to apply workers' rights. A complete fiction. Bogus self-employment. Bosses are having their cake and eating it, while our members, our workers, are living with the anxiety of insecure work and uncertain income. And what do the Tories do? In the face of countless studies highlighting these problems, in the face of court judgments, the GMB took Uber to court over their employment practices. The judge who decided in our favour described Uber's so-called self-employed contract as a work of pure fiction. That's a judge. In the face of all that, in the budget, instead of deciding to protect these people, the government decided to tax them, to put their national insurance up. A self-employed, bogus self-employed alike. I think the policy lasted a week because it broke the Tories' manifesto pledge, but that gave you an insight into how the current government view working people and what the government's priorities are. Let me give you another insight which happened this week. This week we saw the announcement that Nestlé were going to propose to make 300 redundancies from within the UK. About 150 from our workplace in York, and about 100 and odd from a plant in Forden in the northeast, which colleagues here will know well. In Forden, they're moving the production of Blue Riband to Poland. Nobody buys Blue Riband in Poland. In fact, nobody buys Blue Riband anywhere but in the UK. So they're going to take 120 jobs from Forden, take it to Poland, make Blue Riband and ship them all back to the UK for the domestic market. Where is the logic in that? In York we're losing 150 jobs primarily because of Brexit. Because since Brexit was announced, the weakness of the pound has cost Nestlé an extra £100 million in commodity costs to import sugar, cocoa and all the other raw materials. So Brexit's having an impact. So when the York MP, Rachel Maskell, raised this in Prime Minister's question time and asked whether